Time to make sense of business. And on this interactive segment, we are looking at climate resilience and water security. The showers of blessings are here with us. I'm talking about the rains, and climate resilience and water security right now is the best time for that, and especially when you talk about water collection. And joining me in studio very quickly is Engineer Benjamin Ochele, who is the Coordination Manager at Water Experts Davis and Shatcliffe. Karibu sana, Bwana Benjamin.
Thank you so much, Mwananjue.
Very quickly, how has climate change affected water security in the country, and what viable options are there to ensure that we prudent harnessing of the little water that we have?
Great. To highlight, climate change has had devastating effects on water availability in Kenya. And you can attest to the fact that we've had prolonged droughts between 2022 and 2023. We had extreme droughts. Then immediately after that, we got serious rains, that were said to be close to El Nino level. And we experienced a season of extreme flooding. Now, during the drought period, we had a lot of effects on drought, especially on the arid and semi-arid areas, where we had water reservoirs drying up, water wells drying up, and people losing livestock, in that sense. And we also experienced some bit of migration, where people, left the setup of their social community environment and went to congest resources where they could get aid or where there were still active water supply sources. So this has been quite extreme, especially for communities, affecting even their socio-economic setup in terms of, kids being unable to go to school, there's no food, drying up of various pasture available for our livestock. Yes.
And how much innovation is going into coming up with climate-smart technologies when it comes to water management? I'm talking about this because I've seen companies like Elgon Kenya, they make dam liners, and many farmers have just realized that not only can we do fishing with this, it can be used as a water reservoir.
I agree with you. The future of water conservation in Kenya is vested in technology. And when we talk about technology, we are looking at not only the aspect of having smart equipment in terms of running the boreholes and the water extraction equipment that you have or sources. We're also talking about smart agriculture. And what we just mentioned, smart agriculture involves use of the modern technology in agricultural practices and using smart ways of irrigation, where we're running away from the flooding system, where people, you just flood your farm and waste water, but we're adopting systems like drip systems, and this can only come from water that is stored. You first of all store it, you manage the wastage, and then you consume it with time in a measured way. We're also talking about things to do with drought-resilient crops that we should have. And lastly, in the technology end, we are talking about monitoring the storage, the equipment that we have, so that we can predict their failures. Like we have several companies today that have remote monitoring equipment, where we can predict the expected failure on equipment. And you can easily monitor the performance to a point where the efficiency goes down, you make decisions around having them serviced.
And I want to put this into context because for our viewers, the hottest year on record was last year, 2024.
Yes.
And the last 10 hottest years have been the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
Let's just show you how deep we are into arid and semi-arid. Let's talk about arid and semi-arid. Those regions, they get the worst when it comes to water shortages and water mitigations.
Yes.
What are the long-term solutions for these people, and especially when it comes to companies like yours?
Great. I want to give credit to the government, both levels. That's the national government, because as Davis and Shatcliffe, as you've mentioned, we've participated in some of the water equipment reviving or boreholes reviving exercises through the National Steering Committee and Disaster Response, where we managed to rehabilitate 101 boreholes across the country. And most of them were in the arid areas. Now, in these regions, we've had county governments install boreholes, but now the challenge that comes in is the O&M aspect of this infrastructure. People are adopting green energy today, but now even the levels of governments, as I've mentioned, we give them credit. There is little resources that is put towards O&M aspect of these resources. Now, private companies like Davis and Shatcliffe have come up, and we have very active partners even now. We've come up with what we call Improving Lives initiatives, where it's a CSR setup. In the past, I would say like 4 years, we've done over 700 projects across the country and across our counties. And this has impacted, just numbers above 1.5 million, Kenyans, those who are in need of water, and most of our projects are in the arid and semi-arid areas. Yes.
And let's look at urbanization.
Sure.
And let's be honest, urbanization is putting more pressure on the meager water resources that we have. And I'll give you a practical example. When I came to Nairobi, after high school in 2001. And for the last 5 years, we've had water rationing. But when I came in the 2001, there was no water rationing.
Sure.
And now we are putting pressure as counties,
Yeah.
How can county governments ensure there's prudent management of water resources?
Sure. Now, just to give you some statistics, if you look at the early 90s in Nairobi, the population within the city was around 1.3 million or thereabout. Now, the latest census, I think we are talking about numbers about 5 million population. Yeah. Now, we are told that, within the city alone, with that element of congestion, greater population is in the informal sector that is highly affected by water supply. Now, this also brings strain into our rivers in terms of I would say exploitation. We have the solid waste that goes into the rivers, areas where people can expect to extract some little water to use. And the level of recycling that we have in our country today has not reached the point that is required. We need to do that. Now, lastly, on the boreholes within the city, several years ago, we would have boreholes to a depth of 100 meters, but because of depletion and because of the urbanization, the congestion, the resources that we have, several boreholes in Nairobi today, and there are so many, go to a depth of more than 350 meters, which also require a higher capital investment. Yes. So I believe that we should, our counties should work on preventing